Guys, so who has a dog that has a stinky mouth? I'm talking yucky ducky, chucky ducky, quack quack. Remember that comedian from Comedy Feud? The dog's mouth a little halitosa-ish. You know what halitosis is? Used to be this girl's name, I ain't gonna say her name. But I learned about this word when I was a kid. I said, whoo, whoo, whoo. Your mouth is screaming. Well, the dog's mouth, it's not uncommon for it to scream, especially if you're feeding dog food. Dog food often has tons of moisture, but also, because of the moisture and the carb content, it builds up a lot of plaque. We've been in there with Tadlock where he's unfortunately had to take 20, 16, almost 30 teeth out of a dog's mouth before. And I said, how's that dog gonna eat the rest of his life? They only have 42 teeth. He says, wet food, and wet food's probably the worst food. But if you are a raw feeder or you're feeding raw, this is one of the things you can give your dogs. Now, when we go back to our guys over at Horizon Meat Market, I'll have Jeff tell us exactly what he's chopping down to give us these bones. They have $4 bone here in Dallas, which one thing I love is busy work. The other thing I love, we like to freeze it a little bit so it helps with keeping the dogs clean because they're, hey, move. There you go, boy. They're literally chewing up the fat, chewing through the bone, and it's scraping the plaque and tartar and preventing, I think dogs can get gingivitis actually, preventing gingivitis. And then you say, hey, what are all some other good resources in here? Well, saturated fats are super important. And I don't know if I did an episode here, but it's got to be an episode because I just read about saturated fats the other day. What a beautiful thing when you just got the books laying around. Sometimes I wish I was y'all, man. And I didn't have to do all this reading. Cheese. There we go. That's one. I knew the yellow ones. I put the yellow ones in. Yes. Fat. Got to be more careful. Don't hurt me, baby. You sexy when you mad. Okay. For the last 2 decades, fat has been the enemy of the masses, and low-fat products have been all the rage. Low-fat products have been all the rage. Oh, is it low in fat? Unfortunately, this ultimately led to more carbohydrates and sugar in our factory food diets, giving us our obesity and diabetes and heart disease epidemics. Then we started to discover that fresh fat is actually vital to our health and metabolic process. For starters, and somewhat ironic, we know that fat plays a crucial role in weight control. Fat forms the outside of your cells. It communicates with insulin. It regulates cell blood sugar, and consequently your hunger. Some fats turn on genes that are responsible for burning fat, while at the same time turning off genes that store fat. Omega-3s are also involved in regulating thyroid hormone function, which regulates body fat. Finally, when teamed up with a good dose of protein, fat is filling with medium chain fats like coconut oil being the most satiating fat of all times. Now, people, I could go on and on and on and on about fats and fats and fats, and even saturated fats, all the fears. It says, we know that saturated fats are the building blocks of cell membrane and hormones. They are the carriers of fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. They help lower cholesterol levels. They help prevent cancer. They even act as antiviral agents. Guys, I'm not making this up. I'm just reading. That's saturated fats, to be clear. Most of your red meats are going to be a little bit more saturated. And the funny thing is, when the people are bodybuilding, what's one thing they take? Fat burners. And that's a whole other guy to go into the science of that. But this right here, good source of fat. It's frozen. Joker actually smacked this. Oh, well, Maestro couldn't get through that thing. I'm surprised. Now, you're not going to see Joker eat this, but this is like me closing his night out because he had a big meal last night. His stomach was actually hurt. He pooped all outside the cage. So I love when fat, go in that way. Ooh. I love when fat is properly balanced or has a bone component in it because it literally, give this cat a little something. Cat ain't gonna be able to, what's funny, you think cats can do anything until you give him something. You're going, you know what? I'm gonna get this cat some cat food. Ooh, some cat food. He wasting food. Then the dog's going to open up his cage, gave him some fish, don't want the fish. Bro, you're not getting out. I don't know this cat's he's a terrorist. And I say that lightly, people. Because what he does is he opens up the stuff and knocks things off the counter, be food and oatmeal all over. Potatoes, he didn't fed the dogs free avocados. They ain't even supposed to be eating the shell. on the seats. You're like, how did this happen? That cat's a donkey. Guys, saturated fats matter. If you have dogs that have bad breath, look, this whole section right here is on teeth. Bacteria loves warm, damp, dark environments. Give them food here. And they thrive. So your mouth is an ideal place. You always have bacteria in your mouth, on your teeth, and they form a sticky, invisible layer called plaque. A lot of your dogs have plaque. When plaque builds up in excess, what ends up happening? Your dog, literally, his teeth start turning yellow. Your dog then gets a toothache. Tad's like, gotta pull that thing from the root. You gotta pay him per tooth. And you don't want to do that. And you just don't want to do that. That's a whole nother thing that I'll go down in detail with about teeth. And I've already read it. I mean, as you see, this whole chapter's got highlights in it. And this is just covering teeth, people. I try to give as much as I can. I try to educate and teach to the best of my ability. I try to share with you things that I've learned and I've tried and I'm doing as I continue to learn. I'll tell you this, it's not uncommon for a dog's breath to be a little stanky. If you're smelling the breath excessively, it could be literally liver, the kidneys at times, well, more so the liver. It could also be improperly balanced meal, definitely too many carbohydrates. And when you get to those unhealthy or funky burps, indicators also the dog's not digesting the source of protein potentially that you're feeding it. So the dog belches just like we do. I know when I eat a hot dog, ain't nothing worse than a hot dog burp and a boiled egg fart. Or steamed broccoli. You say, boy, you must have had some broccoli right now because you done stunk up this whole room. The irony is a lot of that stuff is not indigestible, but the body lets you know it's not for us. Feed raw if you are feeding raw. Get raw bones. Feel free to freeze some of those things. Busy work, bones provide satiation, aka just give the dogs satiety they need to get through the night. Tonight's not a big meal night for the dogs, but they had to chew on something. I want their teeth clean. I want them a little bit active. And you know what I love about this? Joker and Maestro, after they ate their first bone, they did like this. They went to sleep because it requires them to chew and chew and chew. Just like that old school bazooka gum. After you get through, but it just turns into like a stone. You just like, yeah. Why don't you spit it out? You're like, I ain't gonna get no more. He got no more. That was the last one. I'm gonna chew this till the wheels fall. And then finally you can throw it at somebody like a rock and knock them out. Take care of your dogs, people. Feed responsibly. Keep bone in there. Get some good butcher bones if you can. And if you got questions, comment below to Marcus to tell me if I need to respond. But we'll take you on the journey. We're building the dogs up. They're gonna be big and strong and have sharp teeth. The best way to keep the cheeks growing is by making sure that they chewing. You see, it's always a Negro with some like cheekbone. You got them cheek muscles like. Like, how did he get there? He been chewing gum since he was 3.